Before the video starts, I want to say a huge thank you to Ubisoft for sending me an early access code for Black Flag Resynced, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so in today's video, I got every single trophy on Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, including the Platinum Trophy. In total, the game holds 50 trophies. It took me about 60 hours to finish, and it was a grind through and through. This is the remastered version of the OG Black Flag, which I have already platinumed way back when. It's one of my most favorite videos on the channel, let alone my personal favorite Assassin's Creed game, and I've played them all, so, you know, that's definitely saying something, I hope. But I won't mess around anymore. Let's just dive into the platinum grind that is Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. So, starting off with the story trophies for this game, there is nothing missable, so you can realistically play this however you want, but it's advised to do the story first because a lot of areas are gate-kept by story progress. In terms of trophies, there is only 5 trophies directly tied to story completion, but you will most likely get numerous others while you do play. So let's dive into the story. In terms of the main story, it's the exact same as the OG, so the nostalgia is definitely burning right now, but there is a completely overhauled gameplay system. I believe this is on the same engine as Assassin's Creed Shadows, so it's basically that combat system. It's not like the exact same thing, but it's like, you know, the same base, but it works very well in Black Flag. I know some people were a bit mad about that to begin with, but I loved it. It works good, trust me. Anyways, the story kicks off with the iconic nighttime intro ship combat scene. You fight numerous enemy ships until it all comes to a close faster than it began, with a giant explosion. And then an in the past cutscene happens, and if you don't already know our main character's name, it is the legendary Edward Kenway. He's an absolute dog, a true pirate through and through. But these past kind of intermissions sort of show us his motivation behind what we do in the main story and a lot more depth to his character. Pretty much summed up though, bro is dating some rich hot girl named Caroline. Funnily enough, that's my girlfriend's name, oh my god. Anyways, he basically thinks he's nothing because he's not rich and on her level, so the reasoning in us trying so desperately to get that gold is because of that. A low self-esteem. Hashtag relatable, Edward. Anyways, you then wake up from that dream and we're on a beach. An assassin is nearby that we just had a scuffle with. His name is Duncan, and he sets us up for the first major story arc of the game. Basically, he needs to get to the city of Havana, which is the largest city in the game, for a meeting with the governor and some other important people in the story. At first, he tries to just get us to take him, but Edward ain't nobody's bitch, so we reluctantly declined. You then chase him around the island. This serves as a mechanics tutorial. You know, you love to see a good integration for that. Ubisoft, shout out. And then finally, we boss fight him. Now, I honestly can't recall if they had these graphics and stuff like, you know, the boss fight thing at the top in the OG game. It's been a minute since I've touched it, but, you know, it was a lot of fun. In fact, it felt like it's always been like this, so maybe it has. I have no idea. Anyways, we won, which is kind of hilarious. Some assassin Duncan was. I mean, his name was Duncan. He should be running a pool cleaning business, not hunting down people for gold. Anyways, we then steal his identity, and we basically roleplay as Duncan for the next third of the game's story. You'll see why if you can't remember from the OG, but our goal now is to find a way to Havana. And conveniently enough, a poor, simple merchant was being held hostage by a bunch of enemies. So we took them all out in good fashion, saved the guy, and then we became instant best friends. This legend is named Steed Bonnet, by the way, and I say this unironically, bro is actually amazing. He brings some of the most natural comedy and just charisma out of any character in the game. I absolutely love this dude. So we then commandeer his ship, sailed all the way to Havana. It's a beautiful city, as already stated. You then follow Steed for a bit, doing some side quests for him to further introduce us to the city. All in all, however, we end up at the bottom of the bottle and we get wasted at a bar. Shout out to day drinking. Drop a like down below for day drinking if you're a real one. So we then got into a bar fight, as you do, and during this I got my first trophy of the game, called Backs to the Wall, from killing an enemy with a wall takedown. This was done on complete accident, but it's from just doing a takedown near a wall, and this triggers a special combat move, so here's Joey Pop. Now after that, our boy showed up again, but we were no longer welcome here because, you know, we may have slightly killed the vibe. I mean, just imagine seeing the love of your life getting turned to red mist by a drunk guy in the middle of the day. Truly different times. So we had to go run and hide. However, after successfully doing that, you do finish sequence 2, memory 1 of the story, which gives us the first story trophy called Lively Havana. And here's that Joey Pop. After that, we then had yet again another fetch quest for our boy Steed here, and we had to sneak all the way into this nearby Castillo to get what was taken from him. If that's not what a best friend is there for, I don't know what is. Except for the non-gay tuggies, obviously.
You need to leave!
Anyways, after completing that, we met back up with Steed and we bid him farewell for a minute because he has been squared away and is back to business as usual. The guy does have a family to provide for after all, but this did lead us into finally doing what we came here for, and meeting the governor under the guise of Duncan, that assassin from earlier yet again. However, upon meeting them, they make us do a bunch of training and showing off our assassin skills, both to confirm that we are one, and also because they treat us like a little pet. At one point, this old dude, being the governor named Loreno Torres, even called us a good little boy. I will admit, I got a little excited. Anyways, back to the training. I vividly remember in my video on the OG game, I mentioned how wild these two motherfuckers looked. One of them is straight up just McCree from Overwatch, and the other one is just, I don't know, dude. Maybe a generic white guy who got an aggressive cat as a pet when he was a kid or something. Those are some crazy scars.
You wanna know how I got these scars?
Anyways, I breezed through all of the BS we had to do, and then we finally figure out what this meeting was for. Essentially, these lads are forming a secret cult of sorts. I'm pretty sure it's just the Templars. I mean, they are the villain of the AC universe. But the plot for this game is all about this special room that's hidden away called the Observatory. It can see what any person is doing at any moment in the entire world. And the entire game's plot is us searching to find that before these guys do, because they are evil, and also we wanna sell it to somebody for gold so Edward can finally bag Shawty. I mean, his huz Caroline is a very attractive ginger, and those are more rare than finding gas under $3 a gallon in this goddamn economy. A day then passed and we joined up with the squad of villains once more, this time just escorting the governor through the city with the sage, who is like this special guy that has special blood which is needed to open the door of the observatory. But long story short, we get caught up by assassins. There's a massive fight for about 6 or 7 minutes. However, it ends off with us chasing around the sage. He gets blocked by a simple gate. What a dumbass, couldn't just turn. And then we boss fight him as well. However, the fight finished faster than I do and ended with us RKOing him into the ground. The governor then concludes our little get together and everybody goes their separate ways. We also got given a measly 1,000 gold for all of that work. Not a bad payday, but Edward was pissed at that, and then we swore them all off as enemies from now on because of such low compensation for our efforts. It's kind of crazy how this entire game's plot could have been just avoided if the governor, just paid up a few extra racks. Insane work. So in retaliation, the next main story mission had us sneaking in and trying to steal the sage for ourselves so they couldn't open the observatory when they find it. Overall, this actually wasn't a very hard job, but I did end up getting spotted right in front of like 20 enemies, and I'm not kidding, somehow I found the worst possible place to get spotted. But it might have actually been good after all, because I got a trophy called Caught 'em All from catching at least 5 enemies in a single smoke bomb. Maybe this was the plan all along. You'll never know, and I also won't ever know, because this trophy was achieved last month. God damn, this game took me forever to finish. I need a job. Anyways, here's the trophy pop. So we then found the sage's confinement cell. However, he was already taken by somebody, and then everyone turned up right behind us. A true failure of a mission. So we then got captured and imprisoned in the bottom of a transport ship with another fellow man in cuffs named Adewale. Spoiler, we would escape with him and become boys. He also becomes one of our ship captains after this mission ends. Before that, however, we pretty much just took over the ship, and we also went down to the other ones in this convoy of sorts, and we freed every single last pirate that we could that was on the convoy. It was actually a very, very fun mission, and this also got us our own ship for the remainder of the game called the Jackdaw, and a crew. We had to escape a huge storm as well, which was again very cool. But once the sun rose, a new day began, and that mission line ended off popping me another story trophy called a Poxy Bird from completing Sequence 2 Memory 6. So here's that trophy pop. Moving on, we then just had a few random missions introducing us to the side activities of various islands throughout the game's open world. And on the first one, I also stopped to craft an item, which was again a story objective, but it also gave us a trophy called Smooth Operator from just crafting an item. And here's the trophy pop. Moving on, the story has a bit of a downtime stage for a while. We did just have sort of non-stop story for the past few hours of gameplay, so it's not a surprise, but we deepened a lot of lore between the pirates that would help us later, a ton of missions related directly to the Jackdaw, open sea combat, gathering resources from enemy ships, boarding them, and even much later doing warehouse missions and stealing the booty from those, if you will. Warehouses are needed for a lot of trophies in this game, especially the collectible ones. I think I have PTSD from those, I'm not gonna lie. But while going through them and doing them, I did try and get a few trophies. The first one I went for was called Silence Fool, from killing a guard ringing a bell. Now this is actually very self-explanatory, but it is pretty hard to set up because you have to kill the guard as they are actively ringing the bell, not when the little icon is just over their head. This is basically impossible with the sword as far as I know. You have to shoot them in the head with the pistols to get the kill. So I pretty much just did that and the trophy popped. Easy. After that, we then had a very cool sea mission where we had to tail this massive ship called the El Arca del Masturbate. I don't know. And this thing had some strokes on it. However, once it spotted us and our boys, all that war just happened and it just sailed right on away. And then we had to take out the entire Spanish fleet that showed up. Thankfully, we didn't fight that huge ship right now because we honestly would have been destroyed. But after taking out the fleet, you also unlock a secondary firing mode on our cannons, which allow us to swap between normal shots and fire shots, which are very cool and effective. This also was a trophy, by the way, called Not So Little Friend. After that, our goal was to assassinate one of the 3 men we met at that meeting forever ago, being Julian de Cas, who is the Overwatch guy, if you remember. Now, on the way to find them, because he was very deep in this island, I managed to get another combat trophy being called the Hangman, from killing 10 enemies by hanging them with the rope dart. And this is actually very easy to get. There is countless opportunities throughout the game to get this trophy. However, you know, I would advise going for it as soon as possible, just in case you do miss it. As a long-time trophy hunter, I can say confidently that saving combat trophies for the end is never smart. Kind of like dating a girl with a chest tattoo. She's not gonna raise your children, bro, trust me. Anyways, back to the rope darts. Just simply hang 10 enemies. There is always a prompt for it when you're above them, so yeah, very simple. Here's Joy Pop. Long story short, after multiple moments of searching for McCree, I then found him on his ship. It was very large. Compensating, are we? First, it's a big flamboyant hat, and now it's a big ship. This guy has a tiny dick. Even the fight against him was so easy. After I delivered the final blow, my game fucking crashed. I've never seen a man compensate so much in my entire life besides, you know, Clavicular's young Sheldon cosplay. That shit is still crazy. But after my game didn't crash on my second attempt, we took him down easy peasy, and then the famous and amazing kill cutscene happened. I absolutely love these. You just shove the dead man on the ground. It's an absolutely hilarious way to confirm a kill. Like, talk about humiliation. Bro's hat flew off and he has that Lord Farquaad cut. So yeah, we killed that guy. 1 of 3 down in terms of main villains, if you will. Anyways, moving forward, we then met up with James Kidd, who was one of the main pirate bros we got. And we also got given the Great Inagu Manor, which is the famous pirate hideout in this game. However, this time in the remaster, it actually plays a very, very massive part of it. You can unlock some pretty insane buffs by having it fully restored, and you also have to fully restore it for a ton of trophies. Spoiler, the longest and grindiest trophies of the game are related directly to this place, and I damn near tore my hair out doing this shit. Drop a like and subscribe for my suffering, please. I need it. I'm gonna jump. Oh my god! Anyways, after getting brought around the Isle, which was like our new home base, including the manor, I got another story trophy from settling into my new home. So here's that trophy pop. Now moving on from that last trophy, which was one of the few story ones in the game, I decided to go and explore a bit. You know, try and go do some side things that also do give trophies to help my further understanding of how this game really works, and also just to get more trophies, to be honest. And the first of many side activities in this game I did was a Templar hunt. Now these are entirely side content. You do not need to do them at all whatsoever. However, I would do every single one because I thought that you had to. You'll see later on. But in the basics, these are just a strand of missions that relate to a Templar person. You do multiple setup quests, learning about them. They're all very different. But all in all, it just kind of ends off with us taking out whoever's in the respectable quest line. The one I did related to the killing of Hillary Flint. I mean, with a name like Hillary, it was doomed from the start. And after confirming the kill with that shameless intermission, I got a trophy called Help a Brother Out from completing my first Templar hunt sequence. And here's the trophy pop. After that, I then got a trophy called Yo-Ho from learning a new shanty. Shanties are the songs your crew sings as you sail along the sea, and it's honestly dope as hell. I would love to see a behind-the-scenes recording of how they make these because they made my wiener go up. But to learn new ones, pretty much all you do is find them on the map. Once approaching them, they will fly away with the wind, and you just have to do a parkour after them until reaching it and grabbing it. Once doing so, you get a new shanty and the trophy will pop. After that, I then began the next main story mission, which was a bit annoying. In fact, it's probably the most annoying mission in the game. But it's that famous mission with James Kidd where you have to follow him into these temple ruins, you know, underground thing, I don't know what it is. And it has those famous puzzles that are not hard at all. But if you don't know what to do, it's like the most confusing thing ever. It's so confusing. Real ones will remember the confusion with these back in the day, and you know, by back in the day, I mean 2 years ago when I platinumed this game, and I struggled just as much with this. The view count on the solution video alone tells the story. Overall, this entire level is also just annoying. However, the ending was pretty fun because we actually did do some combat and not just wander in the dark doing ancient puzzles set up by the people before us. But looking back at it, this is probably the dumbest strand of missions ever, because all of this work is just to set up a collectible type. The Mayan steelies or some shit. It's that thing where you find those stones and like line them up, and then you get this little, like this other stone, and then you put it in the door to get a special hidden item. Spoiler, I did that later on again because I was just grinding something and I had no clue what I was doing. The reward is just a trinket that negates bullet damage, so if you care that much about not being shot at, then feel free, go for it. From my POV, it's a complete waste of time because enemies rarely shoot you anyways, and when they do, it doesn't even hurt. Okay, I'm talking too much. Sorry for the sidetrack, let's get back on flow here. The next main mission had us taking down our first fort. The forts of Black Flag are famous because you have to do them all for a trophy later on, and they are honestly one of the more fun open world activities, let alone challenging. Some of these boys are a genuine feat to take down, and overall it's just a great activity to begin with. Now this fort, seeing as it is the first one, is the easiest, only having 2 outside defenses to take down. After doing so, you then raid it, and you have to kill enough enemies to lower their morale. God, I just hate when I see 5 of my closest friends die right next to me. That's basically the logic of this game, and it kind of makes sense. After doing so, you then bust open the vault door and fight the last remaining enemies who dare give us a challenge. Once completing that, the fort is yours. However, this time it actually, since it was story, we just kind of captured the big boy in charge. So, yeah, no brutal killings right now. Moving on. Quite a bit later, the next main mission had us following around James Kidd again, and it was quite mundane for the first half, but it leads into another assassinate objective being related to Lawrence Prince, who is again an evil rich guy in power and friends with all the other evil rich guys. It's crazy how they're all just, so close together. However, right smack dab in the midst of it, I got completely sidetracked and I tried to farm out this one trophy from breaking 50 plant pots. Now, I'm going to spoil this right now because this trophy is very, very misleading. It does not at all relate to the big, big obvious plants and pots, but rather just the teeny tiny ones. I'll talk more on this later, but just don't do what I'm doing because it achieves nothing, and if you do, you are retarded. But back to the killing, I found the dude and I basically just shot him in the head and he died. Shout out to realism, am I right? Oh yeah, we also found out that he was holding the sage in his home, which is I guess the real reason we were here. Turns out the sage doesn't like us either, and yeah, way to blow up the plan, man. See you later. Anyways, to wrap this up, you just have to escape the place and then we meet some hot girl, and that's pretty much it. The following mission had us meet up with Blackbeard for the first time, and there is numerous quests with him, and also a lot of new side quests in relation to Blackbeard throughout the game. I believe they did add in some new ones for him. Overall, they're all a super fun time, but this main story one also unlocked us the diving bell, which is how you go underwater into shipwrecks to get treasure from them and, all of that. This also needs to be done on every single shipwreck for the 7 Deadly Seas trophy, by the way. But before that, on this current shipwreck, I got the trophy owned from completing every activity in a single location. So yeah, that's pretty cool, and after getting every chest on the shipwreck, the trophy popped. And because we don't have access or can do shipwrecks with the diving bell, I just swam around and I did every single one in the game. It took me about an hour to get all of the chests and all of them, but after all was said and done, my pockets were deeper, lungs were emptier, and the 7 Deadly Seas trophy popped right into my lap. With this newfound fortune I have, I also unlocked another trophy 4 minutes later called Business and Pleasure from spending 50,000 reales, which are like the golden coin currency of the game. You might be wondering what I bought that was so expensive. Well, it was from simply restoring all the buildings in the village on the Great Inagu Island where our manor is at. So I got that trophy, and also got the Governor trophy from restoring all of them, as I just said. Little double trophy pop for old time's sake. Now I then did farm out multiple random trophies for real this time. First being called Let Me Explain, from doing a perfect parry and then doing 4 takedowns right after it. Now you must have a sword that can do 4 takedowns to begin with for this to work. Most of them can only do 2, so make sure you do double check. Then just get into a big fight, try to make sure that no brutes are nearby because you can't always take them down, and then do a perfect parry. Then just work around, find 4 guys in the area to take down, and it's that simple. It might take some practice or luck. I got both, so yeah, GG's gonna trophy pop. I then fast traveled to an island which had ocelots on it to farm out the double tap trophy from parrying 2 ocelot attacks in rapid succession. This just means you parry twice without failing. It's a bit hard, but I again got somewhat lucky and it worked, so yeah, GG's gonna trophy pop as well. After that, I found some wild pigs and I went for the Matador trophy from dodging a total of 3 charge attacks. These don't have to be in a row, thankfully, just overall. It's not necessarily hard to do, you pretty much just dodge when it's red, so yeah, not bad. Here's a trophy pop. Literally seconds later, I also healed by consuming some fruit off of a bush, and I got the Glutton for Nourishment trophy from consuming 20 food items. Very natural trophy, you'll get it no doubt as you play, so yeah, easy peasy. Here's a trophy pop. Moving on from the side content grinding, I then did the main story once more. We also are sort of nearing its end, and looking back at it, Black Flag story is actually very short. It's not an issue because it's fun the entire time, but yeah, just saying. Anyways, the next mission had us stealing some plans from a fort which were in regard to this massive fleet of ships we need to stop. So we stole those, ran away, then we assassinated the commander of these ships to stun the planes before they get going. Again, very easy, functions the same as any other assassination objective, and finally we loaded up this decoy ship with fire bombs or something, and we sent it off to the fleet of enemy ships. A giant battle then happened again in a storm because it's aesthetic, duh. All in all, we woke up on the back of our ship next to a baddie, so W's all around. And in this new day, we also did some work on the ship, and I equipped new cosmetics in every slot of the Jack Draw for the dressing overall trophy. Super easy, I probably could have got this ages ago, but I got it right here, and there's Troy Bob. Now moving on, the next main story mission was one of the first where we lost a fellow pirate. Thatch was, or is, a major character in the pirate lore of this game. Long story short, there is a very long and very exciting conflict between us and the British. It's always the damn Brits, ain't it, man? Anyways, we fight them for like the entire mission, and all in all, Thatch ends up not surviving. So Edward is distraught, but we did get a trophy after, so, you know, hopefully that warms his cold, gold-filled heart. Now moving on from that, I pretty much just burned through the story to finish it because we were nearing the end. Essentially what happened is the usual, lots of ship fighting, eavesdropping on Templars, inserting our sword into Templars. That doesn't sound better. And before the final sword trophy, I also grinded out the swim 1000 meters trophy because I wanted to, so I got it. And here's the trophy pop. But jumping forward to the ending because I didn't really get shit for it, you end up just fighting that Torres guy who is the main villain of the game at the observatory. We win, obviously, take him out for good, and then all of the boys show up and make it so nobody can use the observatory, and yeah, all is well. And here's that final story trophy pop, finishing off stage 1 of the trophy guide. Now, starting off stage 2, I am going to make this the final state of trophies because really, all in all, it's just a cleanup now. A very, very long cleanup. I think about 60 to 70% of my playtime was in this stage because it was just such a grind. Granted, I was completely unaware of how you do basically everything because I played this without any guides for the entire game. But I did still manage to do it despite, you know, pouring hours, too many hours into it. However, to begin, I just grinded out basically every trophy that seemed easy to get. And the first of these was called Hunter Hunted from defeating a pirate hunter at maximum wanted level. This is honestly not bad, especially if you have a good ship, because the pirate hunters generally aren't crazy good. They can take you out if you aren't paying attention, but all in all, it's not a challenge. It's honestly probably just harder reaching max 1 level because it takes quite a few other ships being destroyed to do so. Anyways, once I did defeat one, I boarded it and all of that, and the trophy popped right away. I then started going for the all 4th trophy, which took a while because you pretty much do need a max upgraded ship to do them. But during one of the more beginner ones, I got the Gun Kata trophy from using pistols to kill 4 enemies in a row in under 5 seconds. This trophy is best done with a gun that has 4 shots. I, however, did manage to do it with a gun that has 2 shots, but it was pretty hard. All you have to do is just hit headshots, however, so if you're fast enough, it shouldn't be bad at all. I probably tried it like 10 times, however, so just beware. Anyways, once landing that final shot, it popped, and here's the trophy pop. Now, a little bit later, I began doing, or at least going for, the all hands on deck trophy, which was from recruiting all of the officers. I'm pretty positive this is a new thing in this game where you have to recruit officers. Honestly, I can't remember, but one of them gives you the ability to do a perfect brace on the ship. This is when you brace right before any type of damage, and if you do it right, it basically nulls any incoming attack. So it's very good. It's damn near needed against the legendary ships for one. But there also is a trophy from it called Old Ironsides from performing 3 perfect braces. Once you unlock the perfect brace ability, you're gonna without a doubt do this naturally. It's very, very easy to get. The window is also quite large anyway, so yeah, pretty easy trophy pop. After that, I then did my first convoy of the game, and I got the one and only convoy trophy called Strike the Colors from boarding a lead convoy ship. Convoys are a random world event where a group of high-tier enemy ships will be in formation. Simply disable all of them or just the lead one and board it, and the trophy will be yours. A very, very easy trophy yet again. A little while after that, I then got the trophy Collective Madness from adding one of every ship class to Kenway's fleet. Kenway's fleet is that thing where you send off ships on missions for rewards. It was a part of the base game, but I believe it's much more important this time because of some collectible trophies being from it directly. Anyways, I don't remember exactly what ships you need for this. You know, off the top of my head, I know you need the Schooner, the Brig, the Frigate, and the Man of War, and I believe that's it. I'm not sure if there's like maybe one other one. I don't know. Comment down below. Anyways, once I captured the last one I needed, the trophy popped. Pretty simple. 30 minutes later, I then did get the All Officers trophy. Again, this is new, I believe. There is 3 officers you need to recruit through various side missions, and it's honestly some of the most fun side content this game has. It damn near felt like we were doing the main story with how well it was made. That's another note, by the way. The new side content in this game slaps. Like, none of it's filler, it's all fun, and it deepens the lore of this game a lot. And this video isn't even sponsored as well, by the way. I'm not getting paid to say any of this. It genuinely is a great remaster and game. I love Black Flag. But anyways, once we recruited the final officer, I was missing the Troy Pop, and we also have a ton more skills and abilities we can now use on the ship, which are essential. So now that I have every officer unlocked, I then did fully go for those forts that are in the game, and I got the Capture All Fort trophy not long after. While doing these, or rather traveling to them though, a big storm occurred and I did the Unsinkable trophy, you know, totally on purpose from surviving a rogue wave in the side. The way you do these right is by bracing, or, you know, just facing them the right way, but if you take it from the side like a good little girl, it does like damn near all your HP, which is why it's a trophy. A funny trophy if that, and here it is. Following that, I did just finish off all of the forts. Overall, none of them should be hard at this point, and they really aren't. Once capturing the last one, the trophy popped, and here it is, King of the Castle.
King in the castle, king in the castle. Have a chair, I have a chair.
So I then chased down some legendary ships because, again, the trophy does require us to beat them all, much like the OG game. Now, I managed to do none of them because my ship was still weak. Just kidding, I actually only died once, and then I did take out the L impounding, or whatever the kind of French language that is. But because that was so scuffed, I retired from those legendary ships until later. Instead, I began to go for the Cartographer trophy from visiting every location in the game, and I also did explore a bit on these islands because most, if not all, hold valuable things for many trophies. One of which was a smuggler's chest for the trophy among thieves from unlocking, well, one of them. Smuggler hideouts are always, I believe, in caves around the map. It's very obvious where they are, to be honest, but finding the chest is only available after taking out all of the enemies, getting the key, and then unlocking it. The one I did was also underwater to deepen the plot, if you will. But right away, once opening it, the trophy popped, and here it is. I also encountered a random world event on another island later on, which got me the Articles of Agreement trophy from ensuring the survival of all pirates in a street fight. These randomly occur and they show up as this kind of chain link thing on the HUD, but whenever you see one of these, you must immediately run over because if you wait too long, the enemies will execute the pirates in captivity. I ended up doing this one pretty much perfect and no pirates were taken out. Once freeing them, the trophy popped. Again, pretty easy trophy. I then got one more trophy before the all location trophy, being called Return the Favor from dash ramming a bridge enemy ship that is also ramming you. Honestly, I don't really have any tips for this besides just be ready to dash ram if someone tries to ram you. It's kind of an RNG trophy, but it's not as bad as some other RNG trophies in this game, that's for sure. Anyways, yeah, I just dash rammed when this dude looked like he was going to, and the trophy popped, so GG. I then found the final missing location I needed for the all location trophy, and once diving into the water, the trophy popped the second I crossed the location's threshold, so here's that trophy pop. I then got a quick gimmick trophy called Hungover from waking up in a haystack. Now again, there wasn't shit for guides available on this game when I was playing it, but I guessed immediately what you do. Simply go to a tavern and buy enough drinks until you pass out, and after doing so, you know, you pass out and you wake up the next morning in a haystack. A very funny trophy. So we are now entering the grind part of this stage, and most of the trophies left are either hard, tedious, or grindy. The first one I got was a bit of all of them, called 0 ways from restoring a map from map pieces. This is a new feature, I believe, but there is scatter map pieces all over the game which can be gotten through certain actions like doing warehouses, finding them in the Kenway fleet missions, even killing a white jaguar, which is like a rare animal or something. You also do need to get most of these or all of them because once restoring them you get a new buried treasure chest which always contains a weapon, I believe, and we need weapons for a trophy later on related to the manor. But I'm getting too far ahead of myself. First I just simply put one together and the trophy popped. Nice. That took forever, but I summed it up in like 30 seconds. What is my life? Anyways, moving on, I then upgraded the jack draw nearly to max. I believe I was missing 1 or 2 upgrades, but I decided that was good enough to defeat all the legendary ships, and it turns out I was right. I didn't struggle with any of them besides the final one I did, which was that double ship fight. Something about it was just insanely hard, and even when I won it, I barely did. I think I died about 4 times if I remember correctly, so yeah, not a fun time. But once defeating the final one, the trophy did pop. And right after I used the gold I won from that fight to fully upgrade my ship for that trophy as well. Now moving on, I then got 3 relatively easy trophies in hindsight. First was called Grandmaster from winning at each of the different tavern games. This is another repeat trophy from the OG game, but it is far easier this time. There was only 3 games if I remember correctly, and the first 2 I did being just checkers and then this weird game. I don't know, it was easy as shit. However, the final one was called Fanorana, and I'm honestly so just not sure how you play it. I couldn't tell you the goddamn rules if a gun was to my head. I lost a few times, and I basically just got lucky when I won, so yeah, here's that trophy. That game is whack. Next up was Perfect Predator from getting a perfect harpoon shot on a great white shark. This trophy is actually very easy. All you have to do is line up a shot, then hold charge till it hits the limit and throw it. I got it damn near first try, so yeah, GG's baby, easy to rip off. Now finally in this slew of trophies was that damn break 50 potted plants trophy called Edward Catway. I for the longest time was convinced this was just broken because I could not get it to work. But after saying fine, I'll break a few more pots one more time, I noticed something in the bottom of my screen pop up after I broke the tiniest pot possible. The game was saving or doing something behind the scenes every single time I broke a tiny pot. Not the obvious as giant ones I've been thinking the trophy was tied to, but the tiny inconspicuous ones. And if I've learned anything from trophy hunting, it's that if you see any sign of progress within the games behind the scenes, you take that and you run as far as you can with it. So I then ran around Havana and I broke every single tiny pot I could find. And ultimately, the trophy finally popped. I literally came when seeing that, so I might be a genius after all. Anyways, enough celebration, we move on. I ended up getting one more trophy before reaching the shit ones in the list, called Overdesign 4 from kicking a berserk enemy in smoke off a ship. Now this one is a bit hard just because you can't really kick enemies off ships due to the railings on them. However, on some of them there is a sniper up in the tower. So I just climbed up, shot a berserk dart at him, I then threw a smoke bomb and I kicked the tard off. Once he fell all the way down into the ocean and plopped into its waters, the trophy then popped. I'm a genius, confirmed. Alright, let's pause for a second because these next trophies are just they're insane. There is two main hard trophies in this game. There's really only one, but the two that are annoying are called The Memory of My Enemy and Dilettanti. I don't know. The first one requires you to just simply display all character portraits in the manner. And this is also kind of a funny trophy because most of them are people that Edward has killed. You know, they're usually villains. So yeah, flex that ego, Edward. However, the other one is just awful. You have to find, I think, over 50 collectibles throughout the game hidden in chests, buried chests, and obtained on Kenway Fleet missions. It's insanely confusing. It took me about 30 hours by itself to get both of them, and yeah, it's just a horrid grind. Anyways, back at it. The first one is not as bad. The game's database also does say where most of the collectibles are at, especially the portraits, so just use those as clues and try your best to find them. I'm pretty sure PowerPix has a guide out there now, so yeah, could have used that a few days ago. Thanks, bruh. Anyways, once I found them all and displayed them, the trophy popped. Now, I then got another annoying trophy a bit later when I was searching for the art collection pieces for that other trophy, but it was called Friend to All from interacting with all 7 friendly animals. Throughout the game, you will see many animals you can interact with, and I actually did this completely naturally. I found the dog, the cat, the parrot, the turtle, the cow, the chickens, and the pig, which amounted up to 7, but the trophy did not pop. Because for whatever reason, you need to actually find 8. And the last one I got was the monkey, which was a part of an open world event in Havana, where you save a monkey from some enemies who killed his owner. The monkey then joins our ship and you can interact with him on the ship, and after I did that, trophy finally popped. That makes no sense at all. Ubisoft, please just change the description. We got a typo. Anyways, the rest of my time, I didn't really record much. I knew I wasn't gonna get shit for trophies, and I don't like putting 70 hours of uncut gameplay into my $600 Mac to edit because that thing will fucking explode. But I did end up getting all the trophies on recording when I came close to them. The next one I got that was ball torture was called Last to Leave, from taking a seat on a burning ship. Now this is in relation to the new open world event called Burning Ships, which randomly spawn in, almost always near a shipwreck, by the way. But what makes this trophy so absolutely AIDS is that you cannot just sit down in this game. You must get very lucky and find a burning ship that also has a special, very rare chair spawn on it. I deadass spent hours doing this, and from my understanding, only one type of ship will ever have a chair. It's a 2-star British ship called the HMS something. There's a few names, but they must be 2 stars, British, and start with HMS. I don't believe that any other ship works for this, and trust me, I tried so many times to get this. It's genuinely a horrible trophy if you're unlucky like I am. But the trophy itself is easy as fuck. You literally just place your bare ass cheeks for a nanosecond and the trophy unlocks immediately. It's beyond stupid. I hate the trophy with a passion. Anyways, moving on. After that, I got the last 2 trophies that weren't the grindy, tedious, testicular torsion one, being Blow the Man Down and Davy Jones' Locker. Blow the Man Down is from shooting down all the hanging bodies in Long Bay, and finding them is not hard at all. They are just in the same exact path, and you honestly might get it on an accident if you're looking up at least. So yeah, here's a trophy pop. Davy Jones' Locker, however, is from swimming to the lowest point in the map. Now, don't just dive into the water and dive down because you can't. You'll reach a barrier, but also because this must be done in a shipwreck. The Black Trench shipwreck, to be exact. Simply go down there, swim to the right a little bit before you see a chasmic black fog of depth, swim all the way down into that, and then you'll find a little skeleton and a diving bell at the very bottom. Then just kind of swim around this area for a little bit. The trophy doesn't pop right away. It's kind of weird. I don't know why. It's pretty dumb, to be honest. But all in all, not hard, and there's the trophy pop. So only one remains now, and it's the all art collection and equipment slots. Now, all in all, this trophy is completely awful. It's just very hard to convey how bad it is because it just took so long. Just imagine 30 hours of running around in circles searching for something and not really finding shit. That's pretty much what this trophy feels like. But in its core, it just requires us to grab every art piece, which are all laid out in the database of this game. There's a lot of them. You can see exactly what you're missing when you pause and what you have, obviously. And then you also have to put in 12 swords and guns on display in the manor with also 1 outfit. Now, the swords are going to have plenty of extra, but I was missing 1 pistol and I had no clue how to get it. You have to do those map piece things and they give you weapons, like I said earlier. Would have loved to know that yesterday, god damn it. Anyways, yeah, all in all, this just sucks. I could go on and on forever, but if you play this, you're gonna see what I mean, no doubt. Fast forward to hour 60, I then just had 1 more art piece being grabbed on a fleet mission, so I sat there and I waited for 40 minutes till it finished. I got the final piece, I placed it in the trophy pot along with the platinum trophy on Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. Man, what a game. Probably the best remaster I've played in a minute. Without a doubt, the best Assassin's Creed game, and yeah, all in all, just round of applause. They changed it, made it better, looks gorgeous, plays great, feels just as fun as it was ages ago, and yeah, I loved it. Thanks for watching, boys.